Do you think electric cars are just glorified, overpriced golf carts with no soul and a battery that dies every winter? You've been misinformed. We're about to debunk the 9 biggest myths about electric vehicles that are still confusing people in 2025. Myth number 1. EVs are slow, heavy, and no fun to drive. Wrong. Let's add some nuance to this. The feeling of driving an EV is fundamentally different from a gas car, and it all starts with instant torque. A gasoline engine has to build up revolutions to hit its peak power. An electric motor, by its very nature, delivers 100% of its pulling force the instant you touch the pedal. There is no lag. That's supercar-level acceleration in the high-end models. But even in a standard, everyday family EV, that instant response makes driving more direct and engaging. Merging onto a busy highway is no longer a drama. And yes, while EVs are heavy, the massive battery pack sits at the very bottom of the car, creating an incredibly low center of gravity. This translates to surprisingly flat, stable, and confident handling around corners. Driving an EV isn't just about being green. For many, it's a more responsive and powerful experience. Okay, myth number 2. Our power grid can't handle everyone plugging in their EV. Mass adoption means mass blackouts, right? This fear assumes a worst-case scenario that simply won't happen. The transition is gradual. We're talking 15 to 20 years for a full shift. Experts estimate this will only increase total electricity demand by about 25% over that period, a growth rate our grids are historically capable of handling. More importantly, we're not just adding demand. We're adding a smart, flexible resource. The vast majority of charging happens overnight at home during off-peak hours, when the grid has plenty of spare capacity. Now, here's the really cool part for 2025 and beyond, vehicle-to-grid or V2G technology. This turns your car into a mini power plant. During a heat wave when demand spikes, the grid can pull a small, harmless amount of energy from thousands of parked EVs, instantly stabilizing the system. Your car can help prevent blackouts, and you could even get paid for the energy you provide. Instead of breaking the grid, a fleet of smart charging EVs will actually make it stronger and more resilient. Myth number 3 is a big one. EVs are just as bad for the environment as gas cars because of battery manufacturing. This is the most important myth to add nuance to. It is absolutely true that producing an EV, specifically its battery, is carbon intensive. This creates an upfront carbon debt. But that's only the beginning of the car's life story. This is the break-even point. Depending on how clean the local electricity grid is, an EV pays off its initial carbon debt and becomes genuinely cleaner than a comparable gas car after just 1 to 2 years of driving. From that point on, for the next 10 to 15 years, the EV's environmental advantage grows every single day. Furthermore, the battery industry is evolving. Many manufacturers are shifting to LFP or lithium iron phosphate batteries that use no cobalt, a controversial mineral. And as battery recycling plants scale up, these precious materials will be recovered and reused, creating a closed-loop system. So while the manufacturer isn't perfect, the total lifetime impact is a clear and decisive win for EVs. Myth number 4. The battery will degrade quickly like a phone battery, costing you a fortune to replace. This fear comes from our experience with small personal electronics, but an EV battery is a completely different beast. It has a robust liquid cooling system and a sophisticated battery management system that protects it from the stresses of charging and discharging. That mandatory 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty isn't just for total failure. It guarantees the battery will retain a high percentage, usually 70%, of its original capacity. Real-world data from early EVs now over a decade old shows that losing 5 to 10% of range after 100,000 miles is typical. And if a problem does occur, the battery isn't one giant block. It's made of numerous smaller modules. So instead of a massive replacement bill, a technician can diagnose and swap out a single faulty module. Think of it less like replacing a whole engine and more like changing a fuel injector. On to myth number 5. There's nowhere to charge. You'll be stranded on your next road trip. This requires a fundamental mindset shift. We are conditioned to think about energy reactively. We drive until a light comes on, then we find a gas station. EV ownership is proactive. Over 80% of EV charging happens at home overnight. You leave with a full tank every single morning. It's like your phone. You plug it in at night and it's ready to go. The real question isn't where will I charge, but will I even need a charge in public today? For the 20% of the time you do, like on road trips, DC fast charging networks are now robust along all major highways. You simply plan your 20-minute coffee or lunch break around a charging stop. It's a different rhythm, but it's far from inconvenient. And that leads us to myth number 6. EVs have terrible range and take forever to charge. Let's break down the forever to charge idea. There are 3 levels. Level 1 is just plugging into a standard wall outlet. Yes, that's slow, meant for topping off overnight. Level 2 is what you'd have installed in your garage or find at a shopping center. It gives you a full charge overnight. Then there's the big one, DC fast charging. This is your road trip solution. These stations can pour energy into your car at an incredible rate. The charging curve isn't linear. You'll typically go from 10% to 80% in just 20 to 30 minutes. As for range, the average driver in most developed nations travels less than 40 miles a day. In 2025, the average new EV has a range of nearly 300 miles. So for 95% of your driving, range isn't just a non-issue, it's a massive surplus. Myth number 7. EVs are just too expensive for normal people. The sticker price can be a hurdle, there's no denying it. But looking only at the sticker price is like judging a book by its cover. You have to look at the total cost of ownership. Let's run some hypothetical numbers. You might spend $200 a month on gasoline. For the same mileage, home charging could cost you just $50. That's $1,800 saved in 1 year. Now let's talk maintenance. There are no oil changes, spark plugs, timing belts, or mufflers to replace. The savings add up to thousands over the life of the car. Additionally, the used EV market is now maturing. A 3 to 4 year old used EV can be a fantastic bargain, bringing the entry point for ownership way down and offering the same low running costs. Myth number 8. EVs are useless in the cold. This myth is rooted in real physics, but solved by modern engineering. The cold does 2 things. It slows the chemical reactions in the battery, reducing its efficiency, and it forces the car to use a lot of energy to heat the cabin for you. This double whammy can result in a range loss of 20 to 30%. However, car makers have 2 brilliant solutions. First, ultra-efficient heat pumps. Instead of using energy to create heat like a toaster, a heat pump works like a reverse air conditioner, moving existing heat around, which uses up to 3 times less energy. Second, and this is a game changer, preconditioning. While the car is still plugged in, it uses power from the wall, not the battery, to warm both the battery to its optimal temperature and the cabin to your desired setting. You get into a toasty warm car with a happy, efficient battery, and you preserve almost all your driving range. It's a feature that turns a weakness into a genuine luxury. And finally, myth number 9. EVs are dangerously silent for pedestrians. This was a legitimate debate a decade ago, but it's one that has been definitively solved. Regulators around the world agreed and created a solution. This is an acoustic vehicle alerting system, or AVS. At low speeds, typically under 20 miles per hour, the car emits a specific engineered sound. It's not a loud beep or an alarm. It's designed to be audible to pedestrians, cyclists, and the visually impaired without being annoying or adding to noise pollution. It simply replaces the natural sound of a low-revving engine with something just as effective. This isn't a bug. It's now a required safety feature. So there you have it. 9 myths with nuance and context busted. From the thrill of instant torque to the cleverness of preconditioning, the reality of EV ownership in 2025 is more advanced and practical than the rumors would have you believe. They aren't a silver bullet for everything, but the technology is impressive and is only getting better. Don't let 5-year-old information shape your opinion today. What other EV myths have you heard? Drop them in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And if this video helped clear the air, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise. Thanks for watching.